getting towards the end of our program, we're going to bring on to you Charles Gucciardo, and he's going to be also a passionate speaker, brevity and levity, and a lawyer from New York, well-known lawyer from New York, an amazing guy, and I'm very happy to have him come down here from New York to speak with you this evening. Here comes Charles.
Isn't she the best artist? I met her at the convention in Cleveland. We had an absolutely marvelous time there, and I just anytime that I can help out, I'm in. You know, I'm not really into politics. I got to tell you, my whole life I've been trying. People trying to drag me into politics from where I live in New York, but I just never wanted to be in it until this race. And until I saw what was going on, until I saw where we've been going, and you really take a good look at it. You know, you get so wrapped up in your life, right? So many things you have to do. You get up in the morning. Listen, I'm a trial attorney, man. I try cases a month at a time, 2 months at a time. My life goes by in cases. I try one case, and it takes a month and a half of my life, that's gone. I start the next one, 2 months of my life go by, that's gone. The next thing you know, I'm 59. I don't know how it happened. I woke up one day, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. What's going on here? The truth of the matter is that when you're so wrapped up in the things you have to do, you kind of lose track until you see the whole place deteriorated. Now, I gotta tell you something. I want to tell you a little story about what happened to me back in 1991 when I saw things happening, because, you know, everybody touches, and there's very, very pressing situations here. First of all, I'm going to tell you something. You know why Hillary's not going to be the first woman president?
She's going to be in jail.
Because Christianity now is going to be the first woman president. Let's take that clear. I don't think there's any two ways about that. You know, the bottom line is she's going to be in jail besides. I don't understand how she's not. Look, I started in the prosecutor's office, in the district attorney's office in New York. You know, and they trained us in a lot of things. And you know what happens when you do criminal trials? I did that for 5 years. After I got out of the DA's office, I did criminal defense, and after criminal defense, I went into civil litigation. And you know what they teach you? You know what they mold your mind into thinking? And in law school, you've been to law school, you know what they do? They punch your mind and they make you think all kinds of crazy things for a year. You don't know which end is up, which end is down. Because they do that because they want you to be able to see things. They want you to be able to see the conspiracies. They want you to be able to see the things that are going to happen, so that when you come across a situation, whether it be in a case or representing somebody, whether it's a life and death situation, whether it's something more or less than that, whether you're representing a mother for rights, whether you're representing somebody in a divorce action, it doesn't matter. You need to see the conspiracy as it's going down, so that when you have to cross-examine somebody, you get right at it. And you know what? That's part of being an attorney. That's what they teach you. So you can see through all of this. Now I got to tell you something. I've been listening to Hillary Clinton and the things that have been coming out of her mouth for years. And they've all been festering up in my brain because I've been so busy with everything that I have to do. I cannot believe from the time that she first got into politics, how she ever got to be the senator from New York, okay? What happened with the people that she was competing against, where she got where she is, I don't get it.
Exactly.
It's a machine.
Exactly.
It's nothing more or less than a machine, and they're perpetrating a fraud on the American people has been going on and on and on and on. You know, Donald Trump works. Donald Trump stays up 7 days a week. He works. I walked into this hotel when I pulled up today. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This place is magnificent. I have a room upstairs. I can't wait to go lay on my bed just to look at the chandelier. Where did this come from? That came from work. This guy put it together. You know, they want to look at him and they say, look what he's got, and they want to point to his failures. What failures? 2 out of 100?
Exactly.
You want to point at that? They want to look at him and say, oh, you know, he's manufacturing over there, and he's taking advantage of this, and he had a bankruptcy over here and over there and everything else. Let me tell you something. I want to set something straight, and I want everybody to understand how this happens, because I don't think that explaining this to the American people. We have a set of laws. You know, what's happened to the degradation of our Constitution? What's happened to the laws? Do you know what the laws are? There's some feeble attempt to interpret what morality is. The morality that you were taught, not here, but you were taught at home, you were taught what your grandmother told you. Morality. That's what happened. That's how it starts, right? What happened to the commandments? Nobody cares anymore. There's only two that make a difference. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, and mind. And the second one is love your neighbor as you love yourself. Because if you do that, you can't kill him, you can't lie to him, you can't bear false witness, you can't sleep with his wife. Right? Because you love your neighbor. You got it? And then our founding fathers come, and if you haven't seen the play Hamilton in Manhattan, I suggest you go and see it. Okay, because you want to hear what was going on between here and New York back then. Oh my God, it's crazy. Okay? And you want to see what's going on. The bottom line is that we live in a country based on laws. They put them together. What happened to our Constitution and all the amendments? What happened? Why do the Democrats want to take it away from us? Why do they want to reduce us to the rubble that was there before these Constitution got put together? So you got the Bible, you got the commandments, thou shalt not kill and everything else. You listen to what's going on here with this crazy stuff with these abortions. You listen to these statistics, it makes you sick. I'm sitting over there, my stomach is turning. But what happened to that? And what happened to our Constitution? You know what's going to happen to it? If Hillary gets it, it's going to go right down the tubes. But listen to the laws that the people have made subsequent to that. The laws that have been put into effect are laws that were made by politicians who have gotten the support of special interest groups, have gotten support with computer lobbying, and have gotten support from foreign countries that are now influencing what we have here. Now look, people, now here's my point. I got one, I really do, I promise. Here's my point. People want to make fun of Donald Trump. They say, oh, look, he manufactured in China. Oh, look, he declared bankruptcy over here. Oh, look what he did. I'm going to tell you something. When you get to be Donald Trump, when you put together what he's put together by making a living doing it, not by soliciting and getting donations from that country and donations from there, putting $100 billion together, like organizing and taking other people, that's not making a living. That's swindling. That's stealing. That's lying. That's cheating. That's Hillary. Am I right? What are we doing here? When you put all these together, you wind up getting the best attorneys in the world. Now you're Donald Trump, right? You're making money, right? He's had his bad times. He came out. He went down. He came up. That's what you do. The stock market doesn't go this way. You know how the stock market goes? It goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. But it still gets here. And that's what happened in Donald's life. But people don't want to give this guy the credit that he deserves. They just don't want to give it to him. One, they're jealous. Two, they just don't want him to succeed. And three, it's the mainstream of everything that's all in this big machine that's wrapped up to prevent us, we the people. We the people. He said, we the people. It's for us. What are we doing this for? So now you have all these laws out there, right? And you have a man who's got the best attorneys because he could afford the best attorneys. And don't kid yourself, there's a big difference between attorneys and attorneys. I'm telling you. I've seen many cases, man. I try a lot of cases. It depends on the adversary. It depends on the person who's being your attorney, who's going in and doing what you have. Am I right? I'm telling you, man. And the other side always knows when you're coming in. And after 35 years practicing, when they hear Gucciardo's name, they take a different look because they know I'm not kidding around. I'm not going to throw roses on myself. I'm not the brightest guy in the world. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I work the hardest, though. And Donald Trump worked the hardest. That's why he's where he's at. That's why he's going to be the president. Because no one's going to work hard as him. I'm telling you, nobody. He's not just taking money from people. He's making money from people. He's made more people, more workers, more money than anybody in our Capitol Hill here. That's right. Who's done it? slew of them, because you can pay them. And because of that, did you ever see the tax code? In law school, I had to study, I took federal tax. Take federal tax in law school, let me tell you something. The code is this big, and that was 38 years ago, the code was this big. I walked into that final, I didn't even know what the heck I was looking at. How can you figure this thing out? But there are attorneys that do that, so you know what? Get the best attorneys who'll pay the least amount of taxes, because that's the laws that we have in this country, because everybody with that kind of money is taking advantage of it, because everybody with that kind of money can afford those lawyers who know that stuff. What a surprise. And now you want to look at the guy and say, oh, well, look, you took advantage of the tax law. Of course you took advantage of the tax law. I didn't write it. You wrote it. The people you put on the floor. So leave this guy alone already. Stop all the nonsense. Number one. Number two, he's manufacturing in China. I'll tell you what. I will tell you what. If he didn't do that with his manufacturing, ready, follow us now, and he had to compete with the people who didn't do that, who could manufacture for less, because the laws allowed it, then his business would fail. And when his business failed, you bet your bottom dollar, everybody on the other side would go, see, his business failed.
Exactly.
Right? So what is he doing? He's taking advantage of the things that he can take advantage of so that he can compete. So who do you want to put in there? Someone who knows nothing about what it is, somebody who doesn't know business from a hole in the ground, or do you want somebody in there who knows every loophole, every nook and cranny of how to avoid everything, so he can get in there and fix the damn machine that's making us broke? They got something to say to him. Terrible. I want to tell you, listen, I don't want to take much of your time. We've been here, you don't want to hear too much of this. I'm going to tell you something. I love this panel. I'm so happy I came down here. I just got to tell you, it's a little bit of a quick story. I'll be 5 more minutes and I'm going to get going, okay? Look, it was way back in the early 90s. It was like 1990 or so. I had come to Washington, and I'd never been here before. But I come here to get admitted to practice in the Supreme Court of the United States. And I came up with a group of people, Judge Roberto from Nassau County, we had 8 or 10 people, and there was about a good 50 or so people that were being sworn in to the United States Supreme Court, which is a big deal as far as I'm concerned. I had an uncle that argued a case in the Supreme Court, he won a unanimous verdict with them, and it was just terrific, right? And I always thought that one day, I don't know how, I might get lucky enough to actually argue a case in the Supreme Court. Probably never going to happen, by the way. So I go there to get admitted. After we got admitted, they had somebody come in, and I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was secretary to somebody in the Treasury, and I don't remember, but I remember where it was. And it was at the Indian Treaty Room, right? And we went into this big room, a little bit bigger than this, all these people in rows and rows and rows. And I tell you, back then, the Japanese, and listen, I have nothing against the Japanese, don't you understand? I eat sushi twice a week. Okay. I eat the real stuff though. I eat curry, tobiko with quail egg, you know, that stuff. I don't just eat the California rolls. I don't know that as cucumbers. So listen, I'm not a racist even this much. I love everybody. I really do. But back then, what the Japanese did in the late 80s, there was this buying frenzy that they had. Now, I'm a New Yorker, okay? I love New York. I gotta tell you something. Washington is terrific. I love this country. I really, man, I tell you, I love this country. I love every place in it. I've been to many states. I love it all. I really do. I just can't tell you. I don't want to go out of the country. I don't want to go on vacation in the States here. I don't want to leave here. It's great. But as a New Yorker, there's just something, we have a different way of thinking. We walk at 4 times the speed that you walk here. If you don't, you get trampled. Okay? The minute those doors open on the subway, it's like, charge! You're waiting at the door for the doors to open. And all day long, until you get home, and you finally calm down, that's what happens. So, all these monumental places in New York, you have the Empire State Building, you got Rockefeller Center, you got everything that you really want to see. I mean, I've only been to the Statue of Liberty once when I was 9 9 years old. I know it's out there, lady with the torch, but I never get there. The bottom line is, back then the Japanese came in and they were buying up New York. I could not believe what was going on. I knew that they had just bought an 80% stake in Rockefeller Center. Hey! Rockefeller Center! 7 years old, I'm skating around there with the Christmas tree. They bought Rockefeller Center, I could not believe it. My father was a dress manufacturer, okay? And he manufactured from christening sets all the way up to 714. It was a durable children's dress company. It was the third largest dress house in the country at the time. My dad built one sewing machine with my mother in my mother's basement. That's how it started. Okay? No education, no nothing. His parents were immigrants. So now, my father started importing these beautiful painted denim sets. And he was having them made in Kowloon, right? In Hong Kong. And he used to, I heard him, he used to be like, bitch and moan at the dinner table. I can't believe it, the containers come in, I gotta pay 35% tax. And I was a kid. Here it is, I was a kid, I was like 8, 9 years old. My father making a big stick about this 35% tax. And oh my God, it was a big tax. And then all of a sudden, I'm at the Indian Treaty Room, right? The Japanese just bought Rockefeller Center and everything else that they were going on. And this gentleman comes up on this thing. And I'm starting to get annoyed because I'm watching, because they deleted the tax, right? The 35% tax went out the window, everything else went out the window, all of this stuff is just coming in, all the money's going out. You know, if your upkeep exceeds, if your income exceeds your outgo, if your outgo exceeds your income, your upkeep will be a downfall. That's how that works. Okay? And all I saw was that my father was not in business anymore, and I see the money in the United States going to all the countries. Nothing's coming back. And it's bothering me. And it's bothering me because now I'm looking at the place where the money's going. They're buying up New York. And it's got me right here. I'm a New Yorker. I'm telling you, man. It hit me. I'm in the city every day. I'm looking at what's going on. You gotta be kidding. This is insane. So here's this guy speaking at the Indian Treaty Room. Don't you ever remember his name? And he says, yes, we're gonna relax trade. Restrictions even further, we're going to have more trade, we're going to have more trade, we're going to have more trade. And I'm like, that just doesn't sound right to me. I couldn't take it anymore. So I was sitting halfway back. Right? Judge Roberto was in front of me when I was going to play. My father was there. My mother had passed away the year before. And I forgot who else was there. I couldn't take it anymore. I raised my hand. So the guy said, yeah, sir, yes. He said, state your name. I said, Charles Gucciardo. He says, well, how can I help you? I was like, listen, are you aware, I know you're in Washington here, and I know you're not really paying attention to what's going on in New York. I mean, you guys didn't like Hamilton to begin with. It's a joke. you know how that worked out, right? I didn't know that. Listen, I went to high school. I guess I wasn't paying attention. I never really found out until I watched this play. I gotta go see the play. Anyway, so I said, are you aware that the Japanese just bought Rockefeller Center? Are you aware of that? I said, you're telling us you want to relax trade restrictions even further so that more of our money can go to foreign countries so that these foreign countries could then come back and buy the United States. I said, are you aware that this is happening? And he said to me, he goes, no, he says, I didn't know that. I'm not kidding. I said, you didn't know? He goes, yeah. So I said, don't you think that that's a problem? You know what this Moron said to me? He said, well, if more foreign countries owned more of the United States, they'd be less likely to attack us. I almost fell down. I said, excuse me, sir, because now the child turned. I said, excuse me, sir, are you telling me that as a matter of national security, it's going to be good if the rest of the world owns us? Is that what you're saying? Judge Roberto turns around. He's looking at me, he's mortified. I didn't care. I had it here. And this is an Italian thing. It's an Italian thing. I said, you know what, sir? I'm going to save you the trouble. With all due respect, I withdraw the questions. I have no further questions. And I sat down, and half the people applauded. The other half didn't know what the hell I was talking about. Now listen, Donald Trump has got it right. So when somebody tells you, oh yeah, he manufactured it. Yeah, because our laws allow it. Because the laws that we special interest groups and the lobbyists and all of the other countries who want, they gave Hillary Clinton an award in India. Come on! Because she's bringing so much business over there, it's taking it from us. Where's it going? When it all goes out, we're going to collapse, and when we collapse, it's going to hurt. And you know what? Thank God that Donald Trump said, I'm going to sacrifice. He doesn't need it. What does he need this for?
Right.
What does he need the ridicule for? What does he need it for? You know what he needs it for? Because he loves this country every bit as me, as much as I do, and you do, and everybody in this room. That's why we're here. You gotta tell him you need the guy there who can fix this from the inside. He knows you're not gonna pull the wool over this guy's eyes.
Right.
Now listen, I'm gonna tell you something. Most humbly, I can go on for an hour. I'm telling you. Because
Open up the wall.
I'm not going to, because you know what? You people look like nice people, you know. Look, when I use some Asians in court, they usually last about 4 hours. And every judge tells me, you know, Mr. Gucciardo, I'm limiting you to 2 hours. I'm like, Your Honor, I can't possibly say all this in 2 hours. And they all do the same thing. And then when I get through to the second hour, and I look at the judge, and I'm like, all right, Judge, can I continue to go? And the judge looks at the jury, and the jury's sitting there just like you're listening. And I'm like, let me go. So I finish. So, but I'm gonna make this really fun done. I'm gonna tell you, look, I got up here, and I asked the Lord for all the help that we could get. Look, I started out in the DA's office. I did what I had to do. I was the head of the music worship team in a non-denominational church. I've done ministry in Kenya, in Uganda, in Entebbe. And if you want to see the worst places that you could possibly see, go spend a weekend in Entebbe.
Yes.
Okay? I'm telling you, man. When I got home from that mission trip, I would play my keyboards with the choir out in the bush in churches with 1,000 people there with the water leaking through and the malaria mosquitoes, and I couldn't even use both hands on the keyboard. I was like, this is... I'm telling you, when I got home, I got on the floor and I kissed it. I'm not kidding.
Yes.
Wet one.
Yes.
I'm telling you, okay? Because we have something very special in this country. And darn it, the Constitution has to be upheld. That's what we were built on. You degrade this thing, and we don't have a union anymore. And the only person that's on running this today to make that happen, to get things back, and it's not going to be easy. Listen, don't think that Donald's going to get into office and also it's going to be, I'll tell you something, man. We're lucky it's going to take him 4, 6, 8 years to set this country straight.
Exactly.
He doesn't need it. He's doing it because he loves it. He loves you. And don't forget this, we all have our faults. Everybody in this room, and nobody's better than anybody. We all make mistakes.
Right.
You with me? Get out there. Pray. Ask God for mercy. Ask the Lord to touch you so that you can touch somebody else. Don't stop praying. Please, I beg you, and thank you very much for having us.